Welcome, seriously welcome to a John Legg fragrance review. I really appreciate you coming to this channel. I appreciate your time, I appreciate your visit, and I love being able to share this amazing hobby that I've got with you. So thank you very much. Okay, we're going to talk about two fragrances this evening. One's an EDT and one is an EDP, and they are both from the amazing house of VERSACE. Now, a lot of guys wear this one, blue bottle, funny Greek god on the front. VERSACE Eros, very popular fragrance. Now, I would say I'll spray it on and tell you about it, but it's not a spray on, it's a splash on. So here we go. Fortunately, I know this fragrance well, so just have a little bit. Okay. This is a vanilla bomb, okay? But let's get a little bit more specific than it's just a vanilla bomb. Because it's a very sharp, sweet, piercing vanilla bomb. You know, at the top of this fragrance, you've got the guys which just sort of bang this fragrance out at you. You've got mint, you've got lemon, and you've got apple. You know, you've got those three, and just those alone are enough to make this an amazing fragrance, because they come off and they're straight off the blocks and they are just firing at you sharp sweetness. The mint, the apple, the lemon, you can't get away from that. That is just an amazing opening. Underneath that, you've got a beautifully tangy geranium, okay? And then underneath that, you've got like a mass of vanilla, tonka, a little bit of cedar wood, and a little bit of amber. And you know what? I can see why it's a popular fragrance, and it always has been since it was launched. It is an absolutely beautiful, very attention-seeking, very loud because of its piercing nature fragrance. It is just an amazing fragrance. More recently, they've added to the lineup this. Only a sample. Eros EDP, Eau de Parfum. Okay. Now I struggle to tell you what the different notes are or what they've done with the notes, because they do bear an awful lot of similarities, but they're different. This one, EDP, is deeper, darker, richer, and more mature. Okay? There's nothing wrong with the old one. It's just that that is a way more sort of youthful, sort of fun, piercing sort of fragrance, attention-grabbing sort of fragrance. This is more mature. Okay, let me tell you a story. So there was this guy, real popular guy, lived for parties. He was a party animal. Every weekend he was partying, he was drinking, he was having a great time. He loved to get into trouble. He got a kick out of getting into trouble. And he was just, I think probably in the UK, we'd call him a Jack the Lad. Okay. Now, he had a string of girlfriends. And I've got to be honest, they were very glamorous. They were the sort of worldies, they were real sort of model-like girlfriends. In fact, I would say that a lot of them were sort of 80% plastic. They were that kind of girlfriends. But he didn't keep them for long. He wasn't that kind of guy. He was just about having fun. Okay? At one party, he met a girl. And this girl was quite different to the other girls that he ever showed any kind of interest in. But she showed a lot of interest in him. She was very different. I'm not saying she wasn't pretty. She was absolutely gorgeous. She was pretty, but in a very natural way. And she sort of caught his attention. He caught her attention, and they started chatting. And he actually realised he could actually have a decent conversation with this girl as opposed to the sort of girls that he was normally dating. And he got quite attracted to this girl. Anyway, at the end of the party, they exchanged numbers, and they texted each other a couple of times. You know, the next party they met up again, and this time he suddenly realised that this girl, she was actually kind of like a real nice person to be with. Okay, and yeah, they started dating, and you know what? It was a bit of a whirlwind romance. It wasn't what he was used to. Instead of partying, she would sort of say, let's go for a coffee or let's go and watch a movie, sort of thing. She kind of changed him a little bit, but he was still a fun-loving party animal. And a year down the line, they decided to get together, find somewhere to live, and they wanted to settle down. Big problem was it was a massive culture shock to this guy, and he still wanted to go out and party. He still wanted fun. He still liked getting into trouble. He still liked drinking and all that sort of stuff. And it started to sort of wear this girl down a little bit. And she was like, you know what? You've got to change. We've got bills to pay. We've got a mortgage to pay. And she's almost, well, she was suggesting that she'd like to start a family. And you know what he did? He got out. He realised he didn't want to be held down. He did not want to be pinned down to one girl. It wasn't for him. He still wanted fun. And you know what? He went back to the next party. He was like, oh, I'm glad I've got rid of that girl. She was holding me back. But you know what? Halfway through the party, he kind of realised he wasn't really having fun. And he was desperately missing this girl. But you know what? He's a Jack the lad. He didn't care, so he carried on. And as the couple of weeks went past, and he hadn't heard from this girl, he hadn't seen this girl, he kind of realised that he was really missing this girl. So he dropped her a text and said, can I come round for a chat? And they went round for a chat, and I won't go through all the conversation, but she basically said, look, you've got to change. We've got bills to pay. We've got a mortgage to pay. You've got to man up a little bit. You've got to become a little bit of more of a husband sort of thing. And she says, and I was hoping to have kids with you. I wanted a family. And he didn't commit at that time, but he went home and he thought about it, and he thought, you know what? I love that girl. She's kind of, well, she actually was the best thing that ever happened to him. So he decided to change. He almost grew up overnight, and he became a man. Instead of being that young teenage tearaway, drinking, partying and that lot, he matured. And he's now back with this girl, and they have a couple of kids. Beautiful story. But what I was trying to tell you is the relation between these two. This one is a very attention-grabbing, party animal kind of fragrance. It just is. Eros EDP, he grew up. He became a man. He's still got all of those ingredients. He's still got his fun element, but he's just become a little bit more sensible. He's just matured. Forgive me, that story wasn't real, but it's to show you the difference between these two, because the notes are pretty much the same. If you were to look at a list on the Versace website of the notes of this one and notes of this one, you go, well, there's not much difference. But there is definitely a difference in terms of the smell. Now, I hope you forgive me for being quite a long review. I love both of these fragrances. Particularly, I love the EDP, probably because I've got a little bit older myself. And I understand it. And I tell you what, the first time I ever wore that, I sat next to a girl, and within 30 seconds, she'd turned around to me and she said, "You smell great." And I did not know this girl. I'd never met this girl before, and she just randomly came out with that. Okay, it projects nicely. It sort of maybe sort of 5 or 6 hours, a good sort of scent bubble around you, and it lasts well. It's a good skin scent for sort of 10 hours maybe, and it is the EDP is for guys like me, maybe a little bit older. You know, teenagers can wear VERSACE EROS EDT. I sometimes wear it, but to be fair, I've kind of moved on to the EDP. Okay, I'm really sorry this is a long video, and if you stayed with me all the way, I have a lot of love, I have a lot of respect, and I appreciate the fact that you've stayed with me. A thumbs up would be awesome, a subscription would be awesome, and I would like you to stay safe. I'd like you to spray that fragrance every single day, and I'd love to see you next time. And hopefully it'll be a short one with no stories. Goodbye.